A story about truck drivers die. China's trucking industry on the brink as revenues plummet and overcapacity bites, workers lose their jobs, and a series of shocking events take place. What terrible things have Chinese people been facing? Will the government solve this problem for the people? People, don't let your children get back pain. Just tell them not to play too much with their phones. And stop spending lavishly. Look, life is not easy, okay? Understand? Good. I want to study harder in my next life. This job is too hard. I can't sustain my life. In the midst of the pandemic, the life of long-haul truck drivers has become incredibly challenging. Deliveries that used to take just a day now require at least 3 days. Previously, a journey on the highway took a mere 10 minutes, but now, highways and provincial roads are constantly congested, with delays of 4 to 5 hours or even more being a common occurrence. Unloading goods at the destination now necessitates a 48-hour nucleic acid test proof. Accidentally passing through an epidemic area may result in immediate quarantine, posing the risk of suspension from work. Fuel prices have surged to 8 yuan per liter, and gas prices have skyrocketed to 10 yuan per liter. However, freight charges have not increased at all. Each trip requires meticulous calculations, but truck drivers cannot afford to stop because they have families to support and monthly loan repayments to make. The truck drivers during the pandemic are facing a tough struggle for survival. In the hustle of China's busy economy, a big problem is hitting its important transport routes, seriously affecting the country's supply chain. Truck drivers, who are usually seen as essential to China's business, are now struggling to survive. The economy is down, the pandemic messed up logistics, and these drivers are often exploited. The challenges faced by them go beyond the economic downturn, but about humane problems. Their tough reality is a stark contrast to China's image of being a strong and prosperous industrial nation. My friend died, another one of my friends at the age of 39. A driver from Hunan reacted severely to the high plateau in western Tibet, left the world forever. 2 children at home, the elder is 15 years old, the younger is just a few years old. What will his parents do? What about his wife and children? At 39 years old, he left like this without any illness due to the high-altitude reaction. It is very hard and life-threatening as a truck driver. Many people said being truck drivers are easy since only uneducated people do it, especially those unscrupulous freight owners and dishonest businesses, delaying and even not paying their transportation fees. Do you not feel guilty? Do you know how difficult it is for truck drivers to earn a bit of transportation fee? In 2023, numerous truck drivers died suddenly, countless every year. Whether on the Sichuan-Tibet line or the Qinghai-Tibet line, due to high-altitude reactions, one after another left this world. For those of you who still owe transportation fees to truck drivers, I beg you, we have it really bad out here. One of the striking manifestations of the economic downturn is the severe drop in freight rates in China. According to recent insights, the global shipping industry, including China as one of the key players, remains entrenched in a freight recession expected to last into 2024 or even into 2025. This downturn stems from factors such as high inventories and a marked pullback in consumer spending, directly affecting the demand for logistics services. After selling trucks for so many years, I found that the truck driver was really poor, with a lot of debt, and couldn't even come up with a down payment of tens of thousands of yuan. How can anyone survive in such a situation? Moreover, U.S. manufacturing orders in China have seen a dramatic 40% reduction, further exacerbating the decline in the need for freight services and contributing to the oversupply of transportation capacity. This mismatch between supply and demand has led to a catastrophic decline in freight rates, affecting all stakeholders in the logistics chain but most acutely impacting truck drivers who rely on these rates for their income. Wuhan Iron and Steel Transportation Department in Xi'an, Wuhan. The entire place is deserted. With the economic downturn, many companies in China have become such a mess. Yunda Express is so bad that no one delivers to the site and few people are working at the site. China's trucking industry on the brink as revenues plummet and overcapacity bites. The road freight industry in China faces a dire and worsening situation. Despite initial optimism at the start of 2023 as COVID controls relaxed, the reality has proven far worse. Logistics companies have seen revenues plunge by 30% compared to 2022, with freight rates in freefall. Truck driver incomes have collapsed, with short-haul rates down 80%. This crisis builds on existing downturn. Even before COVID, the industry had entered a negative spiral of oversupply and falling prices. Netizens took aerial photos of the new STO Express Transshipment Center in Loa, where the express delivery warehouses were full and piled up like mountains. Many logistic companies are deserted. Seems like they cannot pay proper wage for the truckers considering the amount of stuff laying around. The latest industry figures paint a depressing picture. The truck fleet shrank by 66,000 vehicles in 2022 as nearly 200,000 trucks were taken off the roads. Tonnage hauled fell over 5% to 37 billion tons, a significant decline. And while there was a small rebound in early 2023, this is likely only a dead cat bounce before the next leg down. Several factors have combined to crush the industry. First, years of overinvestment and oversupply, too many trucks chasing too little cargo. Manufacturing weakness and economic headwinds have reduced freight volumes, yet the truck fleet keeps expanding. Second, debt burdens are still being repaid on many recently purchased trucks, forcing desperate price competition between operators. And technologies like logistics automation have accelerated the commoditization of road freight. As these drivers navigate through tough times, their situation reveals a major issue in China's supply system. It's like a quiet alarm signaling a risk of collapse beneath the surface of the country's economic success. The once respected drivers now represent a bigger problem, casting a shadow on China's economic strength. The outlook for truck drivers in 2024 appears grim, with looming unemployment driven by a decline in purchasing power over the past 3 decades. Mortgage payments have drained 90% of the population's resources, leaving little for consumer spending, resulting in unsold factory goods and closures. The emergence of freight platforms worsens the situation, pushing shipping rates lower, especially for long trailers. Predictions suggest truck drivers may face up to 15 days of idle time each month due to economic challenges, forcing many to consider leaving the industry. This extended downtime, coupled with reduced opportunities, may lead drivers to resort to illegal modifications, risking safety on the roads. Challenges extend to inadequate access to proper meals, with many drivers resorting to unhealthy options. Sudden deaths among drivers are attributed to exhaustion and stress, highlighting the toll of the job. Feeling undervalued and mistreated, truck drivers endure difficulties from gatekeepers, warehouse staff, and toll booth operators, exacerbated by tight schedules and financial penalties. There seems little hope of a turnaround. Dual carbon policies will increase costs, while global instability hampers trade. And despite bold visions of an intelligent logistics future, the reality of the present is basic overcapacity and cutthroat competition. The government offers promises about reform and upgrade plans, but for truckers on the edge of bankruptcy, these so-called promises are just empty talk. If all trucks were to stop operating, here's what would happen. On the first day, highways would be exceptionally clear, but by the third day, certain ride-sharing and delivery platforms might declare bankruptcy due to the halted operations. Logistics and courier services would pile up, leading to shortages in supermarket supplies by the fifth day, causing a nationwide surge in prices. Massive population rushes to supermarkets would occur, with even basic vegetables being sold at exorbitant prices. By the seventh day, factories would struggle with stockpiles that couldn't be transported, leading to direct liquidation and closure. After 10 days, agricultural equipment would start facing surplus, prompting a migration of urban populations to rural areas to engage in farming. Truck drivers can support millions of families in this nation, yet we cannot support our own. Why? The downfall of the industry started early. Even in 2022, the express delivery industry in China found itself navigating through the eye of a storm that had raged on in the form of multiple epidemics. The economic turmoil that ensued was a direct consequence of weakened social mobility across provinces, which laid the groundwork for what can only be described as a challenging year for an industry heavily reliant on circulation. According to the State Post Bureau, the industry managed a meager year-on-year increase of 2.1% in business volume and 2.3% in revenue. While ostensibly positive, these figures represent a marked decline from the growth rates witnessed in previous years, underscoring the severe blow dealt by the pandemic. The provincial data paints an even more distressing picture, with growth rates of express delivery business volume falling significantly behind the national average in a majority of the provinces. On January 26th, early in the morning at around 8 o'clock, without even changing the tires, my old truck is still holding on, as there is no money to buy a new tire. I had to settle for putting on my worn-out spare tire. Gotta hold on, gotta keep pushing. It cost me over 3,000 yuan for just changing one tire, and they dismantled it right in Zhengzhou, Hunan, heading straight to Changsha, Hunan. 2/3 of the delivery job is done now, with about 10 more strands to go. I should be able to finish it up. Who cares if the tire doesn't fit up front, just install it higher. Parking fees here exceed 2 hours, so I stood by the roadside and covered myself with canopy. From my current location to the slope road towards the Beijing-Hong-Kong-Macau route, navigating a distance of 783 kilometers. The winter has come for China's trucking sector. Years of overexpansion have left the industry vulnerable, and a confluence of economic and technological factors now threaten its very survival. Furthermore, the disparity between express business volume and income growth in provinces such as Zhejiang and Hebei, where volume increased but revenue fell, lays bare the inefficiencies and unsustainable business practices exacerbated by the pandemic. Shanghai's situation, where a drastic drop in express delivery business volume was accompanied by an increase in business revenue, raises questions about the long-term viability and operational models of the express delivery industry in the face of such crises. Amidst this backdrop of despair, research pertaining to the COVID-19 pandemic's impact on the express delivery industry offers little solace. Studies have highlighted how the pandemic facilitated the spread of viruses through express boxes, further curtailing consumer confidence in the delivery services and adding layers of complexity to an already struggling sector. Additional research focusing on the stock market performance of express delivery companies illustrates significant structural changes and resilience disparities between corporate-owned and franchise store chains during the pandemic. This indicates a broader, more systemic vulnerability within the industry to external shocks such as COVID-19. Ultimately, the express delivery industry's struggles in 2022 are emblematic of the broader economic fragility exposed by the COVID-19 pandemic. The synthesis of epidemiological threats and economic vulnerabilities has not only led to a significant downturn in the express delivery sector but has also cast a long shadow over the prospects of a swift recovery. As the industry stumbles through the turbulence induced by the pandemic, the road ahead appears daunting, painted with uncertainty and devoid of easy solutions.